to say, it took a lot of trial and error, some scorched eyebrows, and more levers than I could count. One of the vaults grabbed my attention more than the others, Vault 51. Whereas most of the vaults were open, this one was sealed behind a large oak door with the words Nil Introitus written on it. I once knew a man who had that tattooed on his buttocks. This wasn't turning out to be one of my better days. Up on the wall of Vault 51 was a sign reading, Unseen Securities, Magical Alarums, Wards, and Hexes. I guess a place like this needed the best security around. There was a panel by the oak door with runes on it. I punched away at the runes randomly, but as far as I could tell, nothing happened. I wasn't about to steal the security notice. The Temple of Small Gods. The Temple of Small Gods was Ankh-Morpork's unique concession to all the thousands, perhaps millions, of small gods that the Discworld was home to. Most of the gods were so small they never got worshipped. The spirits of lonely trees, or the places where two ant trails crossed, and they stayed that way because they lacked belief. Give a god belief, 1 follower or 10 or 10,000, and it grows up from the void into whatever fanciful deity its followers devise. Everyone knows that people need gods to blame for everything that is wrong, or praise for everything that is right. But they forget that every god needs people, too. Inside the temple, a bazaar of fanatics, lunatics, and cultists of all descriptions were trying to sell their faith to prospective followers. 2 salvations for the price of 1. Extra indulgences if you get a friend to join. That sort of thing. The lost and the lonely came here seeking direction. I found it hard to picture Carlotta amongst their number. Malaclips drew attention to himself by virtue of the lack of crowds around him. Even the followers of Flatulus had a small crowd, but for some reason no one wanted to talk to him. It looked as if he had a metal fish hung around his neck. Who do you worship, then?
Why do you want to know? Who sent you? What do you want?
My name's Lewton. I'm a private investigator.
You've been sent by the elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight to silence me, haven't you? Their plots are so transparent. It won't work. I have protection.
There isn't an elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight anymore. They were forcibly disbanded.
Disbanded?
By a dragon, as it happens.
Ah, that's what they want you to think. That was all faked, so that they could eliminate all their traitors and go underground. Even as we speak, they are plotting to control the patrician by putting mind-altering drugs in the palace's water supply.
Then it's true. I'd heard that you were the only other person who really knew what was going on.
What do you want?
I just want to learn from you. Only you can teach me what is really going on in Ankh-Morpork.
You don't fool me.
I don't?
You just want to steal all my knowledge and then use it to further your plans of glory.
Ah, but I know that you know that, and you know that I know that. Which means we're at a stalemate. And since you know more than me, you have the advantage in a stalemate, which means that ultimately you'll beat me.
Yes! Yes! I see. You plan to try and use me, don't you? Well, many have tried to use Malaclips, and I have beaten them all.
No, I can't hide anything from you, can I?
Very well. I will let you. For as long as it serves my purposes to do so. What did you wish to know?
Which deity do you serve?
That's a big question. Which deity do you serve?
I don't serve any deity.
Then I don't serve any deity either.
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
Right. You first.
I serve... I serve...
You didn't finish.
I am forbidden by an oath of loyalty never to speak aloud the name of the person
The ancient mystic order of... Yes, I know all about you. I know every conspiracy turnwise of the Wormberg, and all but one conspiracy hubwards of the Great Neff.
Your turn.
I am the proud servitor of Errata, the goddess of misunderstandings, the mistress of mayhem, the countess of confusion, and the duchess of discord.
You know, sometimes I think I'm her servitor, too.
You get a free gold-plated apple if you join this week.
Tell me about the goddess Errata.
There is no goddess greater than Errata. Have you not looked at the world and seen all the confusion and misunderstanding? Well, who do you think put it there, It didn't happen by chance. Nothing ever happens by chance.
So, every misunderstanding that has ever happened, Errata was behind them all.
Yes. She has started wars, and she has ended wars. Millions have died for the glory of Errata.
And presumably most of them believe they were dying for something else.
Oh, yes, the goddess is shrewd in her ways.
She must be very powerful.
There is no goddess more powerful than Errata.
Then why doesn't she just make everyone into her follower?
Let me tell you something, Lewton. Everyone is a follower of Errata. They just don't know it.
How come you know that you're a follower of Errata?
I only think I'm a follower of Errata. I might be a follower of someone else, and I wouldn't even know it.
Errata thinks of everything, doesn't she? You said you knew all but one conspiracy, Hubwards of the Great Neff. What's the one conspiracy you don't know?
If I knew that, I would know all the conspiracies, wouldn't I?
You don't know anything about that one conspiracy?
Nothing.
Then how do you know that there is another conspiracy?
Because when I put all the other conspiracies together, I can see the pieces missing.
In other words, you can tell there's a conspiracy because you can't see it.
Everything casts a shadow, Lewton, at least of some kind.
What if the missing pieces are a ruse by one of the conspiracies you do know about to try and distract you from paying attention to what they're doing?
No. That's too far-fetched.
So is there a formal church of Errata?
I am the formal church of Errata. I hold her sacred emblem.
And what would that be?
The scarlet totem that I wear around my neck.
And how do you go about joining the church?
I told you. Everyone is part of the Church of Errata. They just don't know it.
Do you know a woman by the name of Carlotta von Uberwald? Have you seen her around the temple?
Oh, yes. I know her. She's part of one of the darkest conspiracies, and they're plotting to take over the world by stealing the lost treasures of Errata and turning them towards a dark purpose. Don't trust her, Lewton. Trust no one.
You know about Mundy's murder?
Of course.
Was she here when he was killed?
Yes. Yes, she was.
Tell me about the counterweight killings.
Rumor has it that the Sun Emperor's private assassin is here in Ankh-Morpork, silencing those who have found out about the conspiracy to keep the Agatean Empire out of the secret trade talks at Ecclefon, thus ensuring that the counterweight continent's stature in the world economy is weakened.
Hold on, slow down a minute. Who's the Sun Emperor?
The ruler of the Agatean Empire, of course.
The Agatean Empire? That's on the counterweight continent, is it?
Shh. not so loud. Don't you know about the patricians' conspiracy to deny the existence of the counterweight continent to the populace? He could have us killed just for talking about it.
But everyone knows that the counterweight continent is real. We had a tourist from there a couple of years ago.
Privately, everyone knows, yes. But publicly, it's still just a legend. And the patrician makes sure it stays that way.
So what you're telling me is that an assassin from a nation that publicly doesn't exist is here killing off certain influential figures.
Exactly!
And all this has to do with a trade meeting at Ecclepon.
Apparently. There may be more to it than that.
Why Ecclepon? That's hundreds of leagues away.
Yes, but Ecclepon is the nearest port to the Acadian Empire. And agents of the Ochre Revolution from the counterweight continent are going to be at the meeting.
I see. Why was Mundy hung upside down when he was murdered? And why were his eyes poked out?
His body was offered up as a sacrifice to the creatures of the dungeon dimensions, the fetid obscenities from beyond time and space. Except errata caused them to get their rituals confused, otherwise the city would be crawling with Helpspawn right now.
Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
Reagan was secretly a member of the Dwarfish Tongs. He was rubbed out in a gangland skirmish between the Shin-Kicker Triad and the Neck-Cleaver Elite.
Why was Malachite killed then?
He knew too much.
Are we talking about the same Malachite? What do you know about a golden sword?
Sword? Sword? You are not worthy to talk of that. Be silent, lest I smite you. Never speak of the sword again until you have proved yourself worthy in the eyes of errata.
Do you know anything about obscure jewels?
I know that the tear of Offla has been stolen again.
Again?
They spend 1 month of the year admiring it in the lost jeweled Temple of Doom, and 11 months of the year tracking it down after someone steals it.
And the other month?
In the 13th month, they have to fill out all